Hi, I'm Carlin Borisenko. In early 2020, I was the knitting Democrat who accidentally went viral on the internet for going to a Trump rally and then left the party. I became the conservative darling, was on all the shows, traveled around the country, and then realized that conservatives were no better than Democrats. If there's one thing that I've learned, it's that both political tribes are two sides of the same coin. But it wasn't all bad. On my journey, I became obsessed with understanding the woke ideology and the culture war. I broke the story of the city of Seattle doing segregated training with its employees.
How bad has this stuff become? The city of Seattle has now put out, I'm not kidding you, this is according to Dr. Carolyn Borisenko, who's an organizational psychologist. The city of Seattle asked its white employees to voluntarily spend a day off in a training about their internalized racial superiority.
I broke the story that led to the first ever federal lawsuit against critical race theory in the schools. I broke the Coke Be Less White story, one of the biggest anti-woke stories of all time. It got over 30 million views. Coca-Cola's corporate headquarters even had to change their outgoing voicemail.
Throughout the past few days, you may have seen inaccurate reporting on the content of our recently launched diversity, equity, and inclusion training program.
I exposed the schools in Burlington, Vermont for grooming middle school children live on the internet. They called me an unwoke cult leader for that. And the Vermont Human Rights Commission slandered me publicly as being a hate channel. I even got called a hero in Breitbart for exposing that the Washington Post was writing a hit piece on Christopher Rufo. I have broken story after story after story about what's going on in the public schools, from Cambridge, Massachusetts, to autistic sex education, to the Department of Education in Michigan, literally training teachers all over the state how to groom children. I wrote a book called Actively Unwoke, the ultimate guide for fighting back against the woke insanity in your life. I host a podcast all about fighting back, and I'm downloading all of my knowledge to you on my Substack, carlin.substack.com. The world is a crazy place. We are literally surrounded by cults on all sides. On this show, we're going to do a deep dive into all aspects of the culture war, and I will show you the dark, dystopian underbellies on both sides. Here are the commitments I'll make to you. I will always tell you the truth. I will always bring you receipts. And if you stick with me, I promise you will see the world differently. Welcome to the cult. Please mount that like button for me and subscribe if you feel so inclined. Well, you didn't expect there not to be a late night stream tonight, did you? Now, my community members that were on my community call today are going to be yelling right now. They're going to be like, Carlin, go to fucking bed. And I'm going to be like, no, not tired, not going to bed yet. Because I have some things to say. Because I didn't actually expect the video that I posted today about why I think I'm wasting my time to get as much attention and feedback as it did. And I want to make sure that I'm following up and really being clear about why I'm making the decisions that I am and about what needs to happen if you want me to continue to put in the immense amount of work required to keep exposing the schools. Because this is a decision that, I'm going to be honest, is no longer in my hands. It's in your hands. That's the reality. I have done everything I can do, and now I'm letting go. And whether or not I continue to focus on exposing the schools in any way, shape, or form will depend entirely on you. Well, that's not entirely true, and I'm going to tell you why. There are things that I'm going to be working on that relate to exposing the schools, but they would no longer be featured publicly. They would be featured in my private schools exposed program, and they would be featured for paying members of my Substack. But they would not be on YouTube, they would not be on Twitter, they would not be made public, and they would be made available to the people who value my work enough to fund it. But the reality is that I have really been working Well, no. We'll talk about this, but let me give you the too long didn't read. If people chose to click on the videos that I do exposing the schools when they are suggested the videos, then this would not be a problem. If people came to my channel every day to see what videos I posted, knowing that I post new videos every day, this would not be a problem. The problem is that when people are served my content relating to the schools, not relating to other things, relating to the important stuff, relating to really the only stuff that actually matters, when they are served content about the important things, they don't click on it. And because they don't click on it, YouTube gets the impression that people don't want to see it because the people who are being shown it aren't clicking on it. People who come to the channel aren't clicking on it. Those who are clicking on it aren't clicking the like button. Those who are clicking on it aren't watching it. Those who are clicking on it aren't leaving comments. They aren't sharing it. They aren't doing any of the things that feed the algorithm. And the content that this is most impacting is not the bullshit drama content that I do because people like that. It's only the important content that people ignore. It's not being suppressed by YouTube. This is not YouTube's fault. This is because people are not watching the content. They are not liking the content. They are not commenting on the content. They are not sharing the content. The most important content that I have on this channel, and this has been true for 2 years now, it is the most underwatched. It is the most unappreciated. And so if I am now facing the reality, this is exactly right, Carson. Why am I doing the videos if no one is watching them? Why am I bothering? Because as it turns out, these videos that are the most important, that are the least watched and the least supported and the least covered of anything that I do, they also are the most labor intensive. You know, I posted a whole bunch of videos today about autistic sex education. And do you know what and by the way, this is a topic I covered back in January that got no coverage anywhere else. It is one of the most shocking things I've ever seen in my life. I worked so hard on it and it didn't get views. And the number one reason I'm given is, "Oh, Carlin, I just don't want to watch this. I can't watch this. It's too hard to watch this. It doesn't make me feel good to watch it." Well, how do you think I feel? After 2 years of spending 10 to 15 hours a day doing this, because every single bit of content that I show you on my channel related to the schools is content that I not only have to watch once, I have to watch it several times because I watch it once for the initial viewing, and then what I have to do is I have to go back and make clips. And so then I have to watch all those clips again. And so then I have to make all the clips, I have to spend additional hours watching every single thing that I just watched again. And then I have to produce the article for it to explain what exactly it is and breaking it all down for people because people won't watch things unless you trim it into 2-minute segments and then they make excuses about that. So then you have to write another article explaining all the 2-minute segments, which means you have to watch all the 2-minute segments again. So for every single piece of content that is related to the schools, that people don't want to watch. And they make every excuse saying, "It just makes me feel bad. I don't want to watch it. I can't watch it. It's too awful. I don't want to see this." I have to watch that content a minimal of 3 times and usually more in order to be able to do everything that is required to tell the story in the proper way that it should be told. So you think that you're being put out, being asked to watch a 2-minute piece of content? I have had to watch that content at least 3 times, and I watch everything, every single bit of content that is shown on this channel, all of the horrifying things, all of the dystopian things, all of the worst things that you can possibly imagine, I have to watch it all at least 3 fucking times. And I'm doing this, and I've been doing it, and I've been showing up over and over and over again, and I have been harassed and doxxed and smeared to within an inch of my sanity, and I still kept showing up, and I still did that and experienced all of that. The things that I have experienced as a result of doing what I'm doing would have left most people curled up wanting to die in the fetal position in a corner every single day of their life. I've had my friends of 20 years be doxxed for being friends with me. It has destroyed friendships, what's been done to me. It almost destroyed my marriage. I spent a good bit of last year, several months, and don't worry, I'm about to say something that's disturbing, but I want people to understand the severity of what this has done. I spent several months last year wondering if I should just end it all. And I don't mean quitting YouTube, I mean ending it all, because I was neck deep in this content every single day while I was being harassed and smeared and my friends were being doxxed. And keep going, Carlin, keep going, keep going. We need you, we need you, we need you. So I kept pushing through it and I kept trying to do everything I could. And people still weren't watching. Even though they were saying it was the most important thing I could be doing, they still weren't watching. And I was putting myself through a goddamn living hell. A living, breathing hell trying to produce this. And it's more than worth it to me to keep persevering if people are watching it and if people are sharing it and if it's getting any media coverage at all. But the fact is that I have exposed more disturbing shit than James O'Keefe. I've exposed more disturbing shit than Project Veritas, but because I'm not a fucking brand, no one watches it and no one shares it. Well, I shouldn't say no one. There are people who do, and there are people who have helped me create it, and there are people who do, like, I mean, they show up every fucking day and support my work, and there are people I'm very blessed that do financially support some of it, although that's definitely another reason why I'm considering stepping away from this content, and we'll talk about that. But the human toll that it takes on me to create this content, most people would have given up a long time ago. And most people wouldn't have the conversation with you about why they've given up. And I know that because a lot of my friends are activists in this space, and so many of them have quit for exactly the same reasons. Everything that I'm about to articulate to you tonight is true of every great activist that has quit in the last 2 years. And I know that because we all talk. I cannot control YouTube. I don't know how that works. Can someone type that into the chat and let that person know? I don't know how it works. I'm not going to stop this stream right now and fix it for you. I'm sorry. Call me ableist if you want. It's the way it goes. You'll have to wait till later until it auto-generates. I don't know what to say. I don't think. I got a ton of comments today. Carlin, don't do it. This is critically important work. Don't do it. This is critically important work. Don't stop creating it. Well, how can you sit there with a straight face and tell me that you think this is critically important when you're not watching it? So it gets really frustrating, and I have hit the wall. I probably should have hit it a long time ago if I was honest. I've hit the wall. And I can't do it anymore if people aren't watching it. And what made me hit the wall was seeing how many people would log on to YouTube at 2 a.m. to watch me talk about Steven Crowder. That did it. Well, it wasn't just that. It was a combination of being epically disappointed and also just really disillusioned at how different the performance was around all the Steven Crowder content that I did. So I was about ready to give up on YouTube, like, entirely. I was just about ready to, like, pull the plug, not to say, like, I didn't, because I do enjoy doing it. I do enjoy it. I think that YouTube is a good chance for me to talk through, just my thoughts about things. I like getting the response from live people in real time. I hate being on video. I cannot tell you how much I hate being on video. I've always hated being on video. But I've gotten used to it because 'cause I've been doing this a while now, and so, it is what it is. But I like the interaction, and I like being able to kind of, like, work through my thoughts in real time. But I was about ready to quit because just financially, it just really wasn't like, YouTube hasn't done anything for me in, like, a really long time. Like, not significant, not to say nothing, but, like, not really significant. I've had to, like, my Substack does really well, and I'm pretty grateful about that, but there's gonna be some things coming to that too pretty soon. And so I get donations, and I do still have people in my locals community, and I have Patreon supporters, and I get private donations. And so I don't want people to think that, like, I'm destitute or something, because I'm not. Like, it's not like that much of an it's not like an emergency situation, but this is more about, I think that money is a value exchange. And so if I'm not making okay, not bot, you're getting blocked. Goodbye. Um so I think of money as a value exchange. So I think if you're putting things out into the world that people value, you will make money for it. I mean, that's pretty basic, right? Like, if you put something, if I'm putting this ball of yarn out into the world, and you say, "Hey, I really like that ball of yarn and I will pay you $30 for it," which is actually about what this cost. I like that ball of yarn so much that I will pay you $30 for it. And you say, "Great. I have put value out into the world, and because I've put something valuable out into the world, you give me value in return." I see money as simply an energy exchange. You give value, you get value. And so for the last 2 years, I really focused on doing what I can to try to create as much value as I possibly can. And I really thought, I really did, that if I just kind of, like, kept my head down and I focused on things that were important, and I focused on just producing stories and information and research, and like, really explain things in a nuanced way, and, like, I really thought that if I just kept doing that, that eventually people would see. See, this person is gonna get banned because I don't have time for your bullshit, bro. See, people like this are part of the reason that I wanted to kinda quit YouTube, because you'll have people like Blue Jordan here who come and make all sorts of demands, and they complain all the time, and they whine all the time, and they cry all the time. But when you're sharing information showing literal children getting groomed on the internet, Blue Jordan will be nowhere to be found. He will do nothing. He will never do anything of value. So Blue Jordan's getting blocked, and he can have all the feelings about it he wants. Because another thing that I really thought was that if I just really started trying to focus on people who genuinely care about things, not the bullshit, not the people who just want to have their talking points repeated over and over and over again, because I can't tell you how many people on the internet literally just want to have their talking points repeated to them over and over and over again by as many people as possible. And so I thought, like, if I get those people out of my audience, the obvious troublemakers, the obvious whiners that are never going to do anything productive, if I just remove them from my audience entirely, I'm going to be better able to focus on the people who want to be here and who want to learn from me. But no, that apparently is a crime. That apparently is so awful in some people's minds that they let the fact that I block people on my channel be more important than autistic children being groomed in sex education class and being shown how to use sex toys to masturbate. Do you guys see the problem here? Is for like 2 straight years. And I killed myself in 2020 as well. Like let's not front. I ran myself ragged in 2020 trying to help people. And then I shifted gears to really focusing on the unwoke stuff after that. And for 2 straight years I've kept my head down. I've really tried. I've defended myself when I've been attacked because I have been attacked more than I can even tell you, more than most people probably understand. But I wasn't allowed to talk about that. I wasn't allowed to talk about how I was being harassed and bullied every day of my life, how I was being smeared, how tens of thousands of people were hearing these horrible lies, that people were making entire videos spreading these lies, that journalists, pretend journalists like Katie Herzog, were making entire podcasts spreading these lies, that a lot of people were profiting off of lying about me. I wasn't allowed to talk about that. I wasn't allowed to defend myself. I wasn't allowed to say anything. If I did, and by the way, this is all going on as I'm trying to fucking expose the Burlington, Vermont schools. And all of this is going on because I had a lot of success initially exposing the Burlington, Vermont schools. And because I'm successful about something, do you know what happens every single time I successfully expose a school? I get harassed to within an inch of my sanity because they're trying, and this comes from the so-called anti-woke space. This is not from the left. This is from the anti-woke space, because every time I'm doing something that is helpful and productive and exposes what's going on, here they come trying to ruin everything. Here they come trying to take me down several pegs. It happens every single time, and still I was pushing through it. Because the Burlington schools actually got coverage. Oh, yay, people were finally seeing things for once. Awesome. But the harassment got really bad after that. Because it was so successful, the first round with the Burlington schools, back, what was it? Was it like April of 2022? I don't even remember. Got really bad after that. Because it was so successful. And I kept trying. I kept trying to put my head down. I kept trying to focus on what mattered. I kept trying to move forward. And every single time I had a success, here it comes again. And I get hit with another train. Over and over and over and over and over again. And I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me because I made the decision to keep going. So I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me. This is not what this is about. I am trying to explain to people what is going on because I am not the only person in this space to have experienced things like this. I'm really not. I am not the only one to experience things like this by a long shot. This happens all the time to people who are actually trying to show you what's going on, trying to expose things. They get attacked by people in the so-called anti-woke space who are almost always conservative influencers, because those conservative influencers are raging goddamn morons. I mean, truly, some of the stupidest people on the planet. And because they're so stupid and they're so worthless and all they know is to repeat talking points over and over and over and over and over again, they go and attack anyone who's actually trying to do good. I'm not the only person who's experienced this. This is why people quit. But I kept going. And then I started exposing things that were like, I mean, kind of like ridiculously bad, even worse than the Burlington schools. And I just kept like showing the information. And, you know, and it just was like it just keeps getting more and more egregious. Every single time I find a new thing, and I've gotten really good at finding it now. I know exactly where to look. Things just keep getting more and more egregious. Now, people claim to care about the schools, right? They claim. We all know, we hear the talking points all the time. Schools are ground zero, battleground number one. If we lose the schools, we lose everything. People claim to care about the schools. People claim to care about grooming. They claim to care about all of these things. But I promise you, if you put actual real grooming in front of them, they will ignore it to talk about drag queens and Dylan Mulvaney every single day. The real work now, in our current time period, is largely ignored unless you are a big time conservative influencer that toes the line of talking points on everything else. Because that's the rule. That's the rule in this space. If you don't toe the line and you don't follow their talking points, they will blacklist you. And it doesn't matter what you share after that. It doesn't matter what you find after that. It doesn't matter what you expose after that. You are on the shit list and you are never getting off. And again, I'm not the only one this has happened to. So these people who claim to care about the schools, who claim to care about education, who claim to want to fight back against the woke left, who claim to do all of this stuff, all of a sudden you're putting stuff that's right in front of them and it's more egregious than anything they have. And they say, sorry, Carolyn, we need to do a story about a woman wearing a low cut top to the gym and people ogled her. That's really more important than this. That really happened. The reason I'm harping so much on autistic sex education is it is one of the most egregious examples that I can see that average people can wrap their heads around, but the fact is that they aren't looking at it. They aren't looking at it and they aren't seeing it. It's so bad. It's really bad. And so you can find story after story after story after story after story on my Substack of this stuff. You can find Twitter threads, you can find videos, you can find all the things. The only platform, by the way, I want to be very clear about something. For those of you who are freaking out that my Substack is going to go away or that my Substack is going to change direction, it is not. I'm talking about carlin.substack.com. I am still going to do original reporting on my Substack. But do you know why? Because on the average day, I get over 10 times the views on Substack that I get on YouTube. And on Substack, I can put up a paywall to provide really good in-depth content to people who value it enough to pay me $5 a month or $50 a year to do it. On YouTube, I mean, I guess I can make content that's members only, but it's not going to get any, I have some members on my channel and of course I appreciate them. But it's not gonna get any views if I do it members only, so it really just doesn't make a difference. But I can still do it on my Substack, so if you are a member of my Substack and you're like, "Carlin, I just paid for you for Substack, what the fuck are you doing?" I'm not talking about Substack right now, I'm talking about YouTube, and YouTube specifically, because YouTube is where the biggest opportunity lies, it's also where the biggest challenge lies. My Substack is not a challenge. The people who are signed up on my Substack want to be there and they want my content. The problem is YouTube. Because I'm producing all this content that people claim to want that is actually exposing egregious things. I'm doing this more than most people focusing in this area. I think, not to pat myself on the back, but I think based on what I've been told, I'm doing some of the best content in this area by the people who are actually paying attention. And it's just not getting any views. Not on here. But you know what did get views, and this is part of the reason. Well, let me go back a little farther. A couple weeks ago, I went to that socialist conference. And, I've been covering socialism on the channel for 7 months. Every single weekend on Saturdays, we do Socialism Saturday at 6 p.m. It's a live stream that is consistent every single weekend. It's always there, except if I'm doing something else, which is rare. But every single weekend, we do Socialism Saturday at 6 p.m. So it's a consistent stream. So people should know, oh, it's Saturday at 6 p.m. We're doing Socialism Saturday. They shouldn't really need a notification from YouTube to remind them. So for people saying, I never get notifications, I have a very consistent streaming schedule and I produce new content every single day of the week, almost, except Sundays. And so it's consistent because that's what you have to do, right? To appeal to people on YouTube. So I was consistent about things for 7 months. We covered Socialism Saturday for 7 months. And then I went to the socialism conference. And I wasn't expecting that to get any play. This was truly and sincerely unexpected. I I went to a full day socialism conference. I've covered it on the channel. It was a socialist reproductive justice conference, and I covered it on the channel. And I've been producing content about it. I still haven't even shown you guys everything I have from it, but I've shown you quite a bit. But when I left, and by the way, just so people understand this, I like to keep things lighthearted and I like to play them off. And so I kind of acted like, oh yeah, I just went to a socialism conference, aha. But here's the reality of this situation. There was Antifa there. There was actual like Antifa there. I'm not joking about that. And if they had recognized me, and I was pretty incognito because they also require mask, which played in my favor. If they had recognized me, I could have actually gotten the shit kicked out of me. And so when I left the conference that night, I like it was like, do you guys ever get the feeling when you're in a room that like you really shouldn't be in? Do you ever get that feeling that you need to run like out of it? You need to get the fuck out like now? Well, the last keynote happened at the socialist conference and I started to get that feeling. It was very pronounced. It was like a very like there was something inside saying, "Carlin, get the fuck out now. Get to your car and go home now." And so I literally picked up my bag and I did that thing where like you walk very fast because you don't want people to see you running. You don't want to be like that conspicuous, but like you walk as fucking fast as you can. I was like, keep your cool, just get the fuck out. And then I had to go walk a third of a mile to my car. And I just kept looking around me because it was like I was really I was scared. I was really scared. I was like, if they fucking recognize me, they're gonna beat the shit out of me. And I got to my car and I looked around and no one was around. And I was like, oh God, thank fucking God. I'm in my car, the door is locked, thank fucking God. Tires were not slashed. Great. And I took out my phone and I recorded this 4-minute video where you guys can go back and watch it. It was not a planned thing. I did not plan to do this. It just felt like the right thing to do. I was in my car. I was safe. And I took out my phone, filmed a 4-minute video. Guys, I just went to the socialism conference and here's some crazy shit that I saw. And I literally just meant to do it as like a quick update because there were people who are regular viewers of me that that knew I was going and people were worried. Like, and I wanted to post it for my community. Essentially to say, guys, I'm okay. Like, no one got kidnapped today. No one got taken hostage. It's all good because, like, I didn't want people to worry about me as I was driving home because I was already getting messages from people in my community saying, is Carlin still there? Has Carlin left yet? Is Carlin still there? Has Carlin left yet? And so I was like, I just want everyone to know that I'm fine. And so I posted this like 4-minute video or whatever on YouTube. And the minute I posted it, like people just started watching it. Like hundreds of people, thousands of people, tens of thousands of people. I think it has like 180,000 views now. I haven't had a video go viral like that in like, 2 years or something like that. I think I produced a lot of important content in 2 years, never had something go off like that. And so I'm seeing this as I'm driving home and I actually pulled over to a gas station at one point and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And so then I posted the video to Twitter and I posted the video. I was parked in the parking lot, of course. I posted it to my Substack, posted to my locals, all that stuff. And I just drove home. I stopped by the dispensary on the way home because I felt like I earned it. And I get to the dispensary, 20,000 people have watched the video. I'm like, at this point, I'm like, holy shit, people are interested in this? That was my honest reaction. Holy people, what? People are interested in this? So I get my supplies and I drive home. Get home, 30,000 views on the video. What? People are actually interested in socialism? Really? And I was so excited because I did not expect it at all in any way. And it was just so, like, thrilling to me because and my community will attest to this, like, I'm obsessed with this content. I love creating this content. I genuinely love it. I really do. And it's not that I like the content of it exactly. Like, it's not like that I like the subject matter and I don't like their ideas. I think their ideas are horseshit, but I've always been obsessed with dystopian content my entire life. And so to, like, have this and I consider socialism like real like this is like real life dystopia. It's happening right now, all around us, and they're doing it all out in the open, and no one's talking about it. I think I'm the only one reporting on most of this stuff. I know I'm the only person reporting on it consistently, and so I was really thrilled. I was like, "Holy shit, people like this content. Maybe," and I was getting all these I got like 4,500 new subscribers or something. I was like, "Maybe, like, this is gonna be the thing that draws people into the socialism content. Isn't this gonna be great?" So that was really that was the high. That was the high, right? And then I was like, maybe I can get them to watch the school stuff because the school stuff had been languishing for years. Do you guys know how much schools content I have on this channel? It would blow your fucking mind. If you're new to me, it would blow your fucking mind how much schools content I have on this channel that you have never seen anywhere else because no one will fucking cover it except for me. And I was like, maybe I can use this and this new interest in socialism to get people to watch the schools content. This is going to be fucking great. And then Steven Crowder happened. And by the way, in between the socialist like video kind of going baby viral and Steven Crowder, I started publishing what happened at the socialist conference because I was like, okay, well, I mean, I was going to publish it anyway, but I was like, let's get some stuff out there. Let's get people to see it. Well, the success, sadly, the success of the 4-minute video coming out of the socialist conference didn't really translate into people wanting to know what happened at the socialist conference. So those all those people who watched the video, all those people that liked the video, all the people that have been subscribed to the channel, I believe that they think that they want to support content like that, but they're not watching the content. They're not watching any of the content from the socialist conference, even though it's fucking egregious. It's egregious. What like if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. I went on a self-managed abortion tour. I saw an abortion shrine. I learned what an abortion doula was. I saw people speak that call themselves the abortion storytellers. I saw the former interim president of Hampshire College denounce capitalism from the main stage in the opening keynote. I discovered an organization that has a 4-page book list for to indoctrinate kids, specifically targeted mostly at elementary school students. I discovered and talked to an organization that starts doing psychotherapy for trans kids at 3 years old. All of this is covered on the channel. All of it's covered on the channel. And no one's watching it. I'm obviously going to have to repeat myself several times. The uphill battle against the algorithm is because people are not watching and clicking on the content when it is served to them. This is entirely within the hands of people who claim to want this content, who are then not clicking on it and not liking it and not commenting on it and not sharing it when the content is produced and served to them. If you are not clicking on the content, the algorithm is going to suppress it. If you are not liking the content, the algorithm is going to assume you don't like it and they're not going to show it to people. This is 100% entirely in the hands of the audience. And listen, you guys are allowed to watch whatever you want. You are allowed to watch whatever you want. I am not going to sit here and say, you better watch my content or else. That's not what this is. That's not what this is at all. And I want to be very clear about that, although that's going to get cut out of context, what I just did. I want people to want to watch the content. If I'm going through all of this effort and all of this energy and putting myself in very real physical danger sometimes, I am more than happy to do any and all of these things. I really am. And we're not going to stop doing the socialist content. It's Red May. We have a lot of socialist content to do this month, but I'm walking people through my thought process in regards to this so that you understand where I am coming from. I want people to want to watch the content because they want to know what's going on. And if people do not want to watch it, if they really can't bring themselves to watch it when it is given to them, if they really can't bring themselves to hit the like button, if they really can't bring themselves to leave a comment on the channel, and when it's really important, if they really can't bring themselves to share it on Twitter or to email fucking The Blaze or Fox News and say, hey guys, you might want to cover this. This is kind of important because they sure shit ain't going to listen to me, but they might listen to you guys. And like, if people are truly unwilling and just have no desire to do any of this stuff, then all I can assume is that it is not valued. Do you understand what I'm saying? I want to produce content that people value. And I can think things are really good all I want. But if the audience doesn't agree, then at some point you have to call a spade a spade. You have to say, you know what? I gave it a good run. I really did. I tried really hard. I did my best. They just didn't want it. They just didn't want it. They didn't want to click on that because they wanted to hear the talking points that they wanted to hear from Matt Walsh for the 5,000th time. Even though he's lying to them, but you know what? That doesn't make a difference because it feels so good for Matt Walsh to lie to them. And so like, do you guys see what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you have to do anything, but if you are not clicking on the content because you don't want to watch it, it doesn't matter how many comments you leave on my YouTube channel saying, this is so valuable, Carlin, keep up the good work. This is so valuable, keep up the good work, because I know you're not watching it. And because you're not watching it and not sharing it and not liking it, the algorithm suppresses it. And then when the algorithm suppresses it, it ends up dragging down all the rest of my content on my channel. Do you guys get it? Because once YouTube stops recommending your channel, trust me, I've been in this situation many times. Once YouTube stops recommending your channel because people aren't clicking on your content and they're not watching your content and they're not giving a thumbs up and all this stuff, you go into some fucking ether that is damn near impossible to get out of. Now, I was lucky a couple weeks ago that I accidentally broke the fucking algorithm. I was lucky. Most of you that are watching this right now wouldn't even see this if I hadn't accidentally broken the algorithm with the socialism with the socialism content, right? So I went from this high of thinking that, oh my god, now people are actually finally like responding positively after 7 months of me watching socialism content every single week on my channel. People are finally responding positively to then this low of, oh, they weren't really serious because they didn't they didn't come back to see what actually happened at the conference. It was more like they saw a video and Carlin made some funny faces but they weren't actually interested in the content. Again, you don't have to watch any of it. I'm not demanding people do anything, but we went from a high up here to a low of, okay, well, they aren't actually interested in the content. It was nice while it lasted. And then Steven Crowder happens. And so I started covering the Steven Crowder stuff because I like the psychology of it. I think there's a lot of backhanded a backroom underhanded dealings going on. And I started covering the Steven Crowder content and all of a sudden now it didn't take off like the socialist video did. It didn't do that. But now all of a sudden I'm doing streams at 1, 2 a.m. in the morning talking about Steven Crowder and Candace Owens. And that is getting 15 times the amount of views as an average school video. 15 times. Do you guys know? Does anyone don't say if you know the answer to this, because some people know the answer to it because I told them in my supporter community Zoom this morning. So if you know the answer to this question, don't chat it in, but I really want to illustrate this point to people. Does anyone want to guess how much money I made off of covering autistic sex education and exposing some of the most egregious grooming of any children, but specifically targeting autistic children that I've ever seen? Does anyone want to guess how much money I made off of that? And then conversely, I want you to also guess how much money I made off of the Steven Crowder content. Now, money isn't everything. And I'll say money isn't everything was people are making their guesses. I want to guess for how much I made off of autistic sex education and how much I made off of Steven Crowder. Okay? Now, money isn't everything, and I really do mean that. Money is not everything. But again, if I think that money is a value exchange, and I think that if I'm putting out valuable content into the world, I will be rewarded with getting value back, this becomes important because it's not necessarily, I'm not destitute or anything, like it's fine. But I want to know, like, how much am I making from drama YouTube content versus how much am I making from the serious content that everyone claims to want. So everyone's telling me, Carlin, your content is so valuable, it is so vital, it is so critical. How much money did I make from that versus YouTube drama content? I'm going to tell you. I made $24 off of covering autistic sex education. In order to cover autistic sex education, I had to put in dozens of hours, watch that training over and over and over and over and over again. I had to spend time trying to reach out to media to get them to cover it, and none of them did, because apparently autistic sex education is not important. So that's all time wasted that I could have been doing something else. I've talked about it over and over and over again. I've written articles about it. I literally did everything I could fucking think of to get people to watch this content because it is that egregious. And I made $24. I've made over $1,000 on the Steven Crowder content. And that's not even trying. Barely putting any energy into it at all. Pulling up the content, watching it, saying what I thought. That's it. So I'm putting in next to no energy on the YouTube drama content, which is much, 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 much easier for me to create, wreaks significantly less havoc on my life. I enjoy doing it, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's all drama. I think we do actually talk about like higher level things. I think I have a much more nuanced take on it than most people. I think I've certainly I'm not taking a side, so I don't really care. I made over $1,000 on that and $24 on the content that people claimed to want. The content that people claimed was vital and critical and so important and definitely worth sucking up all of my time and all of my energy and all of my sanity for 2 effing years. Not specifically on that, but on that general genre of content. This is exactly right. This is exactly right. I am called a grifter every single day of my life. Covering content related to the schools is, let me tell you, becoming a libertarian and not towing the conservative line and not speaking the conservative talking points and then working to expose real grooming in schools, not the bullshit, not the drag queens, not Dylan Mulvaney. That's all bullshit and nonsense and a distraction. I'm actually exposing the real shit. And I still get called the grifter every single day. Let me tell you what, becoming a libertarian, not taking political money, not being beholden to anyone, towing the fucking line and providing a nuanced take, not speaking conservative talking points, and exposing content related to the schools, the real stuff, you are fucking retarded if you think that's grifting. I could be making I when I think about I don't even like to think about this question because for all my trouble, I have sacrificed, I think a low estimate is tens of thousands of dollars. A realistic estimate is probably into the six figures over the last 2 years. That's the truth. So there are people that have left comments on my channel today saying, "Oh, Carlin, the grift is over." Oh no. No, no, no. You don't understand. I'm sorry. You don't understand. If I make this change to my content and I stop covering the school stuff on YouTube, not on Substack, Substack is different. Schools Exposed is different. That's a private thing. But on YouTube specifically, on this platform that we're talking on right now, if I make this change, I can easily, with putting significantly less effort in, significantly less brain power, I can make probably minimally 3, 4, 5 times the amount of money that I'm making now. Maybe more if I really like get good at it and actually put like I can make 3, 4, 5 times more money not putting as much effort in. Like we're talking like I mean really fucking like freeing up hours and hours and hours and hours of my day. And I would make significantly more money. And then if I put like just a little effort in on top of it, I'd probably make even more. And that is the reality of the situation. Money is not everything. Well, no, I can't switch between the two. No, this is not an option, guys. I keep like this is the you guys keep trying to fucking bargain with me over this. If you are not willing to watch the content that you claim to want, then why should I keep producing it? And if I do switch between the two, and I do keep making content that you claim to want, but then do not watch and do not like and do not share and do not comment on, and there's no coverage of it anywhere, that content is going to drag down the algorithm for the entire rest of the channel, which means not only will I be making no money off of it, but you will actively be costing me money by me putting in any time at all into that type of content anymore. Do you guys understand this? This is not a bargaining. This is not a negotiation. The rubber is meeting the road on this. I no longer have any control over the outcome because I have done my part. I have done my part. If you want me to keep covering what you call the important content, then you need to show up. And whether or not I continue to cover it will be a direct reflection of if people show up. I have shown up every single day of my life for 10 to 15 hours a day to produce this content. I have dragged my ass through the very depths of fucking humanity, through some of the darkest shit that you've ever seen, to be able to cover this content. I have put my health in jeopardy and my safety in jeopardy to cover this content. And quite literally, all I am asking is that you watch the content you claim to want, you like the content you claim to want, you comment on the content that you claim to want, you share the content that you claim to want, and on occasion, if it's really important, like autistic sex ed, you contact your media and you contact your influencers and you say, hey, here's this really fucked up piece of content. Do you want to tell people about it? Do you want to do your one and only job in the world and tell people about it? Because they're not going to listen to me because I refuse to toe their line and they don't like my religious beliefs. That's the truth. Conservative media will not cover my content, and if they do, they will not mention me by name because they don't like that I'm not a Christian and I'm not a Jew, and I think everyone goes to heaven, even bad people like Hitler, and I don't think there is a hell, so I don't think anyone can go there. They will not do it if it comes from me. This is a lesson that I have learned. It will not happen. And so on occasion, when there's stuff that's really important, it would be really helpful if you guys could like send an email or a tweet or something, anything. But really, right now, what I would settle for is you watch the content you claim to watch, you mount the fucking like button when you watch it, you leave a comment on it. I don't care if you even just put like fucking comment in your comment, but you leave some sort of comment on it and maybe you share it out to your platforms. That would be really great. Because if that doesn't happen, then all I can assume, based on the behaviors, based on how I'm seeing people show up, is that the content is not wanted and it is not valued because I am getting no value from it. In fact, not only am I not getting any value from producing it, it is costing me my health and my sanity, which would be okay if it was actually exposing things and people were watching it and it was getting some sort of coverage everywhere, but it's not. And so I'm left in this position where I'm like, why am I doing this? I mean, truly, let me know in the chat. I want you to type into the chat. Let me know in the chat. What would you do if you were in my position? How would you reconcile this? Seriously, not just saying, I would do both and I would do it better than you and I would do it every day of the week and you're so ungrateful. Not saying that bullshit. Be a fucking human being for once. And I know this is not like I'm being stern with people. Most of the people are going to be fine. But honestly, if you were in my position and you had given up 2 years of your life to be dragged through a living, breathing hell and still persevered all the way through it, and we're producing this stuff that you thought was really important, but that no one else really even seemed to care about, and you can look at a screen and say, that's gotten a couple hundred views, whereas Steven Crowder has gotten 15,000. Can you guys really blame me? I mean, truly. I can just read news articles like Tim Pool and the Quartering, and I would get more views, and I would get more likes, and I would get more shares, and I get more of everything than if I'm doing this content that is really extremely difficult and extremely draining to do. I promise you, I can read an article that someone else has written and not put any brain power into it at all. And that would be just fine. But can you really blame me for questioning this, for saying, why am I continuing to do this when it is blatantly obvious to me that no one is watching it? Charles, thank you for the super chat. I can't speak for everyone, but I got burned out many months ago and had to disconnect for some time. I've had to take more care in the amount of political content I consume for my own mental health. Well, I'm really sorry about that, Charles. I am. I understand a lot of people are burned out right now, but quite frankly, this is not a reason for me to continue to kill myself doing this content. This is a reason for me to continue to make the decision to not do it. Because I feel for you that you're burned out because I burnt out sometime midway through last year when I just thought about ending it all. And I got a little bit better because I got banned off of Twitter and that really actually helped. That was very beneficial. And I got my shit together again, but now I see clearly. And it's like, I understand that people are burnt out. I really, really, really do. I understand. But why should I have to continue to suffer for content that no one is watching? Let me just scroll through the chat and see what your guys' response are. Kyle says, I'm sure there are many people here that wish they had the money to fund your videos. I try to get everyone I know to watch the important videos about school grooming, protecting children. It's hard. Well, Kyle, here's the thing. I haven't even asked anyone to fund it. What I've asked them to do is to watch it, like it, leave a comment on it, and share it. And watching it costs no money. Liking it costs no money. Leaving a comment on it costs no money. Sharing it costs no money. I have literally, not in the course of this entire video, asked people to sign up for my Substack or sign up for my locals or make a gift or any of those things. I would welcome it if you wanted to, but I haven't asked for that. I have asked for people to watch the content they say they want, to like the content they say they want, to leave a comment on the content they say they want, and to share the content they say they want. And that's it. So this isn't a money thing. The metrics are what they are. And if you guys don't want it to be this way, then what I need you to do is to watch and share every single autistic sex ed video that I've posted on my channel in like the last 24 hours. Because here's the thing. Actually, let me get through the chat first and then I'll show you. Because if you guys want me to do the content and you are willing to step up and watch it and like it and share it and comment on it, then I will continue, then I will do it. I am more than willing to take this bullet and to continue doing it if I feel that it is valued and appreciated and utilized and shared, and that it's actually doing something, and that it's actually making an impact. It's not just killing me from the fucking inside. Like, if it's actually doing something, then I will continue to do it. But this is no longer within my control. You guys have to do your part. Well, Kyle, the problem is that I used to make well over 6 figures doing like other stuff that's not this. And so I don't actually find this to be an argument. Like, and then a lot of people have said this to me today, like, Carlin, you're just growing something here. You're just growing it. No, I'm not. I'm not. The channel grew during 2020 when conservatives thought they converted a Democrat. I can tell you the exact day my channel stopped growing because it was the day after the 2020 election. My channel has not grown at all in the entire time I have been covering this content. It has not grown at all. In fact, I've only lost subscribers. And then every once in a while, I get like a batch more because like some video I do, like one time my video got featured in some newspaper in India and I got a bunch of subscribers from that. And one time I was like, I blocked conservatives all night while I was at Pork Fest last year. And that was weird because I blocked like, probably a couple like I literally just did a stream where I was blocking conservatives on Twitter because they were raising bullshit and they were canceling me again over nonsense. And so I literally just did a stream where I was just blocking conservatives on Twitter. And I got like 2,000 subscribers that night. I have truly no idea why. And then in this one, I got like 4,500 new subscribers based off of that socialism video. But other than these kind of like big random spurts that I really can't see coming and have no control over, I have seen zero growth on YouTube, not on other platforms, on YouTube. So there's been no growth. So for people who come up and say, Carlin, you're still growing things. If you just keep it up and you keep your head down, then it'll come around. No, it won't. The numbers are extremely clear. Like it is not in dispute at all. So that's not going to fly either. The reality is the channel is not growing because people are not watching the content that I have been killing myself to produce that they claim they want. And if they don't want it, at some point I have to face reality and I have to start, if I'm going to keep doing this YouTube thing, I have to start giving people content that they're going to watch. So I'm not talking about ending content entirely right now. I'm talking about not doing any more of this exposing of the schools or the trainings or any of that. Except for like Happy Hour and Socialism Saturday. Just cover normal fucking pop culture news for the rest of it. Everyone else does it. Like, why shouldn't I? It seems to be what everyone wants. Far more people respond to that than respond to the real stuff. People are much more interested in covering that. They're much more likely to watch a video related to that. So why shouldn't I? It would supplement my other work on Substack. Making more money on here, spending less time on it, would supplement my work over there. Starry says you could do 3-hour shows with several topics, blend clips from the schools in between the news and drama segments so they get views. No. Because now you're asking me to do more work on top of the work I'm already doing when you could just watch the content. There were months that I talked about the school's content all the fucking time. All the time. And people wouldn't watch it. So if I have been shown the pattern that people do not want to watch this content, why would I continue to give it to people? That doesn't even make sense. It's going to drive down the rest of the content. See, Lori, you can go fuck yourself right off. See, these are the people that make me want to quit YouTube every day. Wow, you need to think about why you're blaming the people who are listening to you right now. I have said so many times this is not a good sign. Lori, I have never seen you in this chat in my life. This is what really pisses me off. This bullshit right here. Because this Lori person, and my regulars can attest to this, this person who probably is using a fake name just to stir shit up on YouTube has never once, not once, been in my streams about the real topics. Never once. My chat knows who the regulars are. My chat knows people who have been here once or twice because we've created a little community around it. Lori has never been here. Lori has probably never supported my work in any way. Lori has probably never watched any of the school videos in any way. Lori is now trying to stir up shit because Lori is getting her fifis hurt, or she's just a troll pretending to be something that she isn't, as a way to drive down everything else. What Lori could have done is done what I asked her to do, which is go watch the content you claim to want, which really shouldn't be a problem, Lori. If you actually see, here's the problem. Here's the problem with most people that are in this space today. And good, I just scared off a bunch of people. Good, GTFO. I never wanted the biggest audience in the world. I wanted the correct audience. Do not want audience members who claim to care about something and then engage in moral outrage bullshit that has nothing to do with what actually matters. I am not willing to beg people to continue to kill myself to produce content for them. Either you want the school's content or you don't. Either you're going to watch it or you're not. And in between that, you can have all the feelings you want about my tone, but you are in no way, shape, or form going to convince me that you care about grooming in schools when you seem to really be more concerned about my tone than you are in the actual problem. Let me just scroll through the chat. Yep, it looks to me like people are getting it. It looks to me like people are understanding the position that I have found myself. Because I made conservatives mad because I told them the truth, and so they unsubscribed like the whiny little bitches that they are. That's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct. Well, no, David, this is incorrect. This is not correct. This is where, guys, I cannot emphasize this enough. You have got to stop abdicating responsibility for what you say you want. If you do not want the school's content, then it is perfectly fine not to watch it or engage with it at all. Truly. But don't claim you want it when you are not willing to follow through on that. So David says, I have following you for some time, but your feed was restricted to me. My feed has never been restricted to you, David. My feed has never been restricted. There is no universe in which my feed has been restricted. You are welcome to watch content on my channel every single day. I produce a metric fuck ton of it. I don't even expect you to watch it all. You are welcome to attend any of my 5 p.m. live streams. You are welcome to attend my 6 p.m. stream on Saturdays. All of these are very consistent. We're always here. It's always been available. But if YouTube, guys, if YouTube serves you my content and you don't click on it, and you do this repeatedly, and you just ignore it, or you're like, oh, I'll watch that later, but then you never do. Now, this might be unfair, David, but if you are not clicking on my content, then eventually YouTube is going to believe that you don't want to watch it. And it's going to stop serving it to you, and it's going to unsubscribe you from my channel, and it's not going to send you notifications because YouTube is only interested in serving you the content that you are willing to click on. So to say it's not about us or what we want, it is entirely about you and what you want. And I'm not trying to lecture you, and I'm not trying to guilt trip you. Again, I've said a million times, if you don't want to watch the content related to the schools, I am not going to hold a gun to your head. I am not going to force you. But what I am going to say is, I am not seeing enough interest in my content in this specific area to make it worth continuing to do. But I am seeing interest in YouTube drama content and bullshit, a lot more interest, 15 times the amount of interest. And so if people are more interested in me doing YouTube drama bullshit content, then the people have spoken. And if you are unwilling to click on a video when it is served to you, then YouTube is going to correctly assume that you don't value it. And what that's going to translate into me is then YouTube is going to suppress that content where it's not only not going to serve it to you, it's not going to serve it to other people. Again, I'm not trying to guilt trip anyone. I am explaining the reality of the situation here and why you haven't seen this content. You haven't seen it because you have ignored every single post that's been served to you. You've ignored comments and community notes. You never subscribed to the email list that I told you to subscribe to if you wanted to get updates about my content, and you're allowed to not do any of those things. And I don't place any judgment on you if you don't do those things. But I'm telling you to do those things for a reason so that I can say, have you seen this content? Because it might not have served it to you because you stopped clicking on my content. So, like, you guys have to be purposeful about clicking on the content that you want. This is the thing. This is why it's so dangerous when you guys start hate watching Dylan Mulvaney all of the time. And by the way, I just want to thank David for the super sticker earlier. I'm not sure I did that. But this is why when you hate watch content, you get more hate watch content delivered to you because you need to take responsibility for clicking on things that you want and liking those videos and commenting on them and not clicking on things you don't want. The algorithm is entirely driven by you. Everything is driven by you. You will get the content that you tell YouTube you want. And YouTube doesn't know when you're clicking on something to hate watch it. YouTube only knows you clicked on that thing, so you must want it. I can get people to click on videos about Steven Crowder every day. I can get people to click on videos about drag queens every day. I can get people to click on videos about Dylan Mulvaney every day. I can get people to click on videos about Candace Owens every day. I can make a whole fucking series. If HG Tutor refuses to evaluate Candace Owens, maybe I will. Maybe I will make an entire series about how Candace Owens is a narcissist, and I will get tens of thousands of views on that, if not more. Because I can get people to click on that content. And when people click on it, then it'll be served to more people. And then it'll have ads on it. But it's all based on what you're willing to click on. And so if you're not willing to click on the content about the schools, again, I'm not judging. I'm not saying like, you need to do this or else. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that if it is not valued and it is not performing and I'm making $24 for days of work and more headaches than I can even articulate, then at some point I have to have an honest conversation and say it is no longer feasible for me to do this. And it happened in this case because I got smacked in the face with the fact that people were clicking on the Steven Crowder content and the Candace Owens content. And you know what? They were doing it at 2 a.m., just like we're doing right now. I had probably 2-3 times the amount of people watching live streams at 2 a.m. about Steven Crowder than I do about this. This is the problem, guys. This is the problem. Let me just keep scrolling through the chat a little bit. Let's see what people are saying. Charles, thank you for the super chat. Your socialist event video showed that you are willing to risk your own safety to expose the truth. If it's not profitable, then it's probably not worth putting yourself in a building of psychos, in my opinion. Well, that's exactly right, Charles. That's exactly right. Why am I putting myself in physical danger to expose things that people aren't watching? You know? Emphasize says, "You're gonna take the bait, aren't you? Switch to drama and they get throttled again. I'm gonna get in trouble for using I mean, I don't think it's gonna get throttled, Emphasize. The numbers tell me that that's wrong. The numbers tell me that the drama content is what people want. Far more than the schools." Bot says, "You had over 400 people at 2 a.m. for Crowder." That's the truth. That's the truth. And guys, here's the thing. And I said this to my locals today, or my community, because I do supporter calls on Mondays and Wednesdays. And I said to my community, I said, you know what? Even with the complete and total lack of views that I get on YouTube, even though it makes no money, even though it sucks up all of my time and my energy, if the media fucking covered it like they told me they would and then decided not to, if the media covered it, then that would all make it worth it. If the media showed parents autistic sex education, as they were all pitched, every single one of your conservative outlets knew about it. Every single one of them knew about it. Every single one of them knew about the Socialist Conference. Every single one of them. And I said today, you know what? Even if no one watches it on YouTube, if it gets on fucking TV and a lot of people see it, even if my name isn't attached to it, because it doesn't always have to be, but like if a lot of people see it, then I could rationalize that, right? Because maybe people aren't watching it on YouTube and maybe I'm making no money off of it, but at least people are seeing it. At least that's something. Hundreds of thousands, millions of people see it, even if my name isn't attached to it, because again, like it doesn't necessarily have to be. But even if they covered it, that would make it worth it. I can justify that. I can rationalize that. That makes sense, right? Because then you're having an impact. Every single one of your conservative influencers refused to cover it. They all refused. None of them. Zero. None of them. A couple of them told me they would. And then canceled, reneged, stopped answering emails. Zero coverage. Do you know what did get covered? Woman in low cut top is stared at by men at the gym. That really happened. A big time, major conservative media outlet asked me to come on to discuss autistic sex education, canceled a half hour later after I agreed. And then I see this article come out, and it's not the only article they produced, obviously, but it was the biggest slap in the face to me. A couple weeks later, I see this article come out. Woman wears low cut top to gym, gets stared at. Really? Really? You think a story about a woman wearing a low cut top to the gym and getting stared at is more important than exposing an autistic sex education presentation that was the keynote at the National Sex Education Conference. You're telling me that the story about the woman wearing the low-cut top to the gym was more important than that? That's the media landscape that we're in right now? And that wasn't the only outlet that did something like that. That was just the most egregious. And I gotta tell you, I just sat here and I stared at it, and it really felt like I had been spit at in my face. And I know it wasn't a personal thing about me. Well, I mean, it was because they don't like covering my content because I'm not a Jew or a Christian. So that's that. So it is kind of, but like not really. I know that they pass on story like more important stories all the time, right? This wasn't a personal slight at me. I understand that. But to know, to know without a shadow of a doubt the type of content that they're passing on and not showing to their audience, and that they're serving up content that is woman wears low cut top to the gym and gets stared at. It was the biggest slap in the face that I've ever experienced in my life. And it showed me emphatically, this was the last straw with me with conservative media. It showed me emphatically that these people, this is not, and I already knew this wasn't a surprise. These are not serious people. These are not serious people at all. These people do not care about the things they claim to care about. These people use issues to make money. They lie to their audiences to make money. They withhold important information because it would just be too scary and too much for their audiences. And they don't want their audiences to really know what's going on in the world because then those audiences would become uncontrollable. It it really solidified. And then I had with the socialist conference, I had another different, completely different, major conservative media outlet that told me they were going to report on the self-managed abortion tour. They told me they were. Minimally mention it. And then they didn't do that, but do you know what they did do? Do you know what they did? Bitched and complained about Hillary Clinton for the 8,000th time. Did a whole segment bitching and complaining about Hillary Clinton again. Didn't say anything new about Hillary. This wasn't even breaking news. There was no news. There was nothing. It was, I can't believe Hillary got away with everything that she did again. And it was just rehashing. It was like a retrospective of all the bullshit that Hillary Clinton has done. There was no new information, no news, just another I hate Hillary Clinton marathon. And that was considered more important and more critical. So you know what? It's kind of like I can't get people to watch even though they say it's so valuable and they say they really want it so bad. I can't get them to watch. I can't get them to click the like button. I can't get them to comment. I can't get them to share. I share everything I do across all my social media. I have mailing lists that people can sign up for. I have different ways that people can support my work on like 8,000 platforms that I have to maintain by myself. I can't get anyone to interact with any of that in regards to this content specifically on YouTube because we're talking about YouTube. I have done everything I can. I have asked, I have cajoled, I have reminded, I have set up every single way that you can possibly that you can possibly deal with to keep in touch with me, to learn about this content. I've done everything I can. I post community updates. I post consistent content. I stream more than I'm one of the most consistent fucking streamers on this platform to make sure you know when I'm going to be streaming. So even if YouTube doesn't deliver you a notification, you're still going to oh, it's 5 o'clock, Carlin stream. Okay, yeah. I've done everything I can do. And then on top of that, I can't get any media to do their fucking job because they hate my religious beliefs. Because apparently my specific religious beliefs are more important than autistic children being transed and as part of the standard national sex ed curriculum according to the keynote at the National Sex Ed Conference, which specifically said that all autistic children need to be taught about queer issues because 70% of them are queer. That is actually in the presentation. And I can't get anyone to talk about that. Never mind that, they're, oh, it's not topical, Carlin. Oh, really? It's not topical. You're gonna pull that bullshit on me because I know that there is research out there saying now that is creating a lot of fucking hullabaloo. Oh, look, autistic children are more susceptible to being groomed in schools. Who would have thunk it? You know who would have thunk it? The people watching this channel and the 1,000 people that actually watched that content when it came out back in January. Do you know why autistic children are more susceptible to being transed in the schools? Because they're literally building it into the sex education curriculum and presenting it at the National Sex Ed Conference. And we knew about it. And I have video of it. I have it all. I have video of the entire thing. No, they don't, Beth. Do you think I forgot about them? No, I didn't. They all follow me. Every single one of them follows me. I have video of the entire fucking thing. And there's all this hullabaloo about, oh my God, autistic kids are more susceptible to this. You don't say. You don't say. Because guess what? I handed you this on a silver platter 4 months ago. Did your journalism for you. You're welcome. All you had to do was report on it. So I can't get people to watch it. I can't get people to report on it. And it has been one of the most blackpilling experiences of my life to do this over and over and over and over again every day for 2 years for 10 to 15 hours a day and to have genuinely important shit that is actually impacting the lives of real people, the most vulnerable people, some would argue, and no one cares. And then to be told on top of it that if I don't keep producing this content that no one wants to watch and no one cares about and no one is willing to report on, then I'm just being really selfish and I'm obviously a grifter. Well, no, this isn't grifting at all. This is one of the smartest business decisions I could ever make because I will quadruple my income by not doing this. I've been called a grifter almost every day of my life for 3 years. I have lost so much money grifting, I can't even tell you. And maybe it's time, after I've been called a grifter every single day of my life for 3 goddamn years and lost probably into the 6 figures doing all this epic fucking grifting, maybe it's time to actually think like a grifter would think and say, YouTube drama content it is. Uncle, I fucking give up because I don't know what to do anymore. I genuinely and truly don't know what to do anymore. Beth says, drama is a dime a dozen. I wish people cared more about what matters. I appreciate you do. Well, I do, and this is heartbreaking to me. This is truly heartbreaking to me. And I'm going to tell you more about that in a second. Emphasize says, Mommy, Daddy is watching that lady again. Well, Emphasize. I've been going through a mourning process in realizing this. I like, and this might sound weird. I know how important this content is. I know how important it is. Do you guys think that I don't know how important it is? I had planned my entire year around doing this and this only. And I've just been hit in the face with reality. And reality says people don't want this content. And I'm heartbroken. I am fucking heartbroken. I really am. And that might sound weird, but like, I know. It is heartbreaking to me that people don't care about this enough to do the bare minimum. It is heartbreaking to me to really see and really understand that people can scream all day, groomer, 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 all fucking day. And they're literally just doing it for sport. None of it's real. All of this outrage about drag queens, none of it's real. Because they don't actually care when kids are groomed. They don't care. It's all a distraction. It's all a sideshow. And to really know that and to really see reality for what it is heartbreaking. Don't you think I know how many people could be helped if people took this more seriously? Don't you think that I think about this all the time? How much more progress we can make? How much better things would be? How many more people would be helped? How many kids wouldn't be transitioned in schools? Do you know what I see when I watch the detransitioner content? I see kids that could have been saved if people wanted to save them, but they don't want to save them. They just want to use them as political pawns. That's the truth. No one cares about saving these kids. This group of detransitioners that they're carting around the country, no one really cares about them. Not that I shouldn't say that. There are people who genuinely do care about them, but not the people who are carting them around the country using them as political pawns to do these events. They don't care about them. These kids 'cause a lot of them are kids, even though they're technically adults, but, like, they're emotionally stunted. You guys understand this, right? The detransitioners that you see testifying and speaking at things, they're emotionally stunted because of what happened to them, and, so I call them kids because that's where their mind is. They really are, and, that's not their fault. They didn't do anything wrong. They were failed by the adults in their life. These detransitioner kids have no mental health support, barely have any financial support. I'm talking about the ones that you see testifying at things and at events, the big name ones, the ones that you all know the names of because they've been on the Daily Wire and they've been used by all the media outlets. And I know what it looks like to be used by media outlets because I was. I was all throughout 2020. I got used in exactly the same way, except I didn't get used because I tried to change my gender. I got used because I changed my political party. I didn't try to change my gender, and they still use me, and so it's not quite the same thing, but it's the same kind of idea, right? So I know how to identify it. None of them have mental health support. They're being taken out to events at night, where they're being taken to clubs where there's alcohol all around them, and half of these kids are alcoholics because of what's happened to them. And they're going to be used up by the political machine, and they're gonna be spit out, and these kids have big fucking problems. Because of what's happened to them, they need help, and that's not gonna be provided to them. Do you think every time I look at those detransitioners, I don't think about the fact that I'm exposing the things in schools that are the policies that led to them being detransitioners, and no one cares? And there's nothing I can do to make them care. And I've tried everything I can think of, and it still doesn't work. And we can blame the YouTube algorithm all we want, but the fact of the matter is that it doesn't work because people are not clicking on the content they claim to watch. They're not watching the content they claim to watch. They're not liking the content they claim to want. And then conservative media, which claims to care about these issues, won't cover it. They won't cover the root cause of why all this shit is happening in the first place. That's how fucked up this all is. So I am heartbroken that people don't want this. I am heartbroken that people won't look. No, the algorithm depends entirely on you and what you choose to click on. Stop abdicating your responsibility. Stop hate watching content. This is not just about me, guys. If you are hate watching content, you're going to get more bad content. If you're engaging with content you want, then you're going to get more of that content. So I've done everything I can do. So what I did today, and this is kind of my last hurrah, if I'm honest about it, this is it, guys. I'm not doing this anymore. And I have posted all over social media about this. I posted in the community about this. Thank you for the super sticker. I do appreciate it. What I did today, and it started last night, let me show you. I guess I can just do this. No, it's not letting me. So this is the homepage of my channel. This is the channel that you are watching on right now. This is made up bullshit, and you need to stop lying to yourselves. If you have not been served my other content, it's because you are either new here or you did not click on it. You've got to stop making excuses for why you are not doing the things that you claim to care about. This is just good life advice in general. And again, if you don't want to watch it, that's totally fine. I am not judging, but I am saying that what is served to you on YouTube is directly the result of your actions. It is directly the result of your actions. So, I'm giving people one last chance to show me through behaviors, through your actions. I have shown up for you. Okay? I have shown up for you guys for a really long time. I have shown up almost every day, consistently, without a vacation. And now I need you, if you want me to keep doing this specific type of content, I need you to show up and show me through your actions, not through your words, not through your comments, through your actions, that you want me to continue this. So, I did a couple of things. Number one, last night on the channel, I replayed the entire autistic sex ed webinar, exactly as it happened back in January, hoping that I got some new audience members. And you know what? Maybe they hadn't seen it, so we're going to run it a second time. The entire thing from start to finish. It has gotten 2,000 views. I want to remind you that when I did Steven Crowder at 2 a.m., it is over 15,000 views. Okay? So I ran Autistic Sex Ed last night. That is the long stream, the 2+ hour stream. How long is it? 2 hours and 6 minutes. 2,000 views. Then today, I canceled my afternoon stream because I was, quite frankly, really upset because I'm in a mourning right now because I am heartbroken that I think I'm going to have to give this up, and I don't really want to because I do think this content is important, but I'm being forced into a position where I have to start being realistic. So I was really upset today, and I canceled the stream because if I had done it, I probably would have cried on the internet. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go through, because here's what people are going to say about that 2-hour video. Even though it is one of the most egregious instances of grooming that I have ever seen, people are going to say, it's 2 hours. It's too long. I don't want to watch for 2 hours. Can you just make it into clips for me? Because I'm not gonna watch 2 hours, Colin. Now, these are people who will sit down and watch a 3-hour Joe Rogan podcast, like, the minute that it fucking comes out. But okay, fine. You only have so many hours in the day. You gotta watch your Joe Rogan, you gotta hate watch your Dylan Mulvaney, and then maybe if you have a little extra time, you can, do something real. So, anticipating that people were going to make every excuse in the book, not wanting to watch the 2-hour video, I spent the majority of my day making a whole bunch of clips. Now, none of these clips, and these are of the most egregious parts of the video, none of these clips is over 3 minutes long. So I gave you the long form content, And I gave you the shortest form content that I can possibly give you. Some of them are even shorts, under 1 minute long. So really, there is absolutely no excuse in the book for people not sitting their asses down and watching at least one. We're talking about a less than 1 minute commitment here, guys. Most of you, in the course of watching this stream, could literally watch every single clip that I made today. Let's see how many people have watched those clips so far. I hope things progress positively. Well, I mean, that is out of my control at this point. It is entirely up to you guys, but I do appreciate the super chat. This one, where the autistic sex ed instructor is saying they want to teach your autistic kids about dick and cock, that has gotten 691 views since I posted it 7 hours ago. That's not great, is it? That's really not great. This short video that is 25 seconds long, that is about how the trans autistic sex ed teacher is saying overtly, I have never related to 14-year-old boys as much in my life as after I went on testosterone. 527 views. So all those people in my feed saying, Carlin, just make shorts. Just make shorts. If you make shorts, people will watch it. Well, no, apparently not. No. Oh, yeah. He is well aware of me. That's not going to work out. Because you want to know why? He wanted me to hand over all of my content to him so he can do, well, I guess whatever he does with it. No questions asked. No credit for my work. And I said no. But yeah, he knows how to get in touch with me if he wants to. He has my email. We emailed several times back and forth. And the answer was, hey, James, here's how this went. Hey, James, I have got a metric fuck ton of content about the schools, and I can tell you exactly what schools to look into and where they are and who's involved, and I would really like to talk about working with you. And then he said, okay, send me over all of your content. And then I said, well, I want to work with you. I don't want to just hand you all my content. I want to work with you. So can we talk about how we might collaborate? And he said, I don't understand. Why won't you just send me your content? And I said, because I worked really hard on this and I don't want to just give it to you. I would like to talk about collaboration. And he said, but I don't understand. Like, why don't you just want to give me all your content? And I said, well, I'm more than happy to collaborate. And I never heard back from him again. So that's how that conversation went. This video where the autistic sex ed teacher is talking about how much they love masturbation and how much, you know what we should do? Should we just watch them? Do you guys want to watch some clips? Do you want to watch them? I know a lot of you probably haven't seen them. Let's watch them. Let's just do that. Hang on. Because this will only take a couple seconds, because remember, all of these clips are less than 3 minutes long. So let's just watch them. And then no one can say they haven't seen them. Let's watch this first one. They want to teach your autistic kids about dick and cock, which only has 700 views in the past 7 hours.
If you did not come here expecting to hear me say words like dick and cock, I'm sorry, and you don't know me very well. But I think that you gotta, so use anatomically correct language. Yes, even if it makes you super uncomfortable. Yes, even if you use different language to talk about your own body. I do not care what you call your vagina or penis. We are doing students a huge disservice when we do not teach them those words. When you are working with autistic folks who are like starting to get to an age where they're having conversations around sex, It's really important to teach them the slang terms for these body parts too, both so that they can recognize them and also so that they can just like use them in a sexual context. Like it's totally legitimate if someone wants to use penis to talk about their body during sex, but a lot of people use words like dick and cock, and maybe that's a little bit of a sexier word. And autistic people like have a right to to know that those are words that they use. My like inspiration for all the work that I do is a young man I've been working with for many years. I feel like his mom, I think, is here. And my favorite story about this person from recent years is that we were having a conversation around like, what if I want to have sex? What do I do? And we were on a walk, and he asked me, he was like, can I say to someone like, will you touch my member? And it took me a second to be like, what are we talking about? And then he was like, can I say to someone like, will you touch my member? And I was like, okay, that's not an inappropriate word to call your penis. Like that's a very normal, like it is definitely a slang term. But if you are in a situation where like you're about to have sex with someone and you use member, that's probably an unexpected word to be hearing in a sexual context. And, you know, here we were talking, I like got to talk to him about how dick and cock are like words that a lot of people with penises used to talk about their bodies in a sexual context. So slang's important. I am happy to, if these are conversations you would not like to be having with your children, I'm happy to have them for you because they bring me a lot of joy. Okay. Consent is.
If these are not conversations you want to have with your children, I'm happy to have them for you because they bring me a lot of joy. This was from the keynote of the National Sex Ed Conference, but apparently people don't want to watch it and don't want to share it because it only has 700 views. Let's watch this short, 25 seconds.
I will also say that never have I related more to 14-year-old boys than when I was like 6 months on testosterone. There is a lot of emotional change happening during puberty. And it is very hard to like regulate emotions during that time. So I think a lot of those conversations are really important to be having.
Well, I agree with you, Charles. Charles says children don't need sexier words. These people need to be on a list. You know, wouldn't it be great if the media actually did their fucking jobs and covered this so that more people knew about it? Wouldn't that be like really the best? I think that would be pretty great myself, but they're not. So let's move on. Now in this clip that was posted 6 hours ago and has 487 views. And by the way, guys, if you think I'm trying to drive up the views on these videos because I'm going to make like $1 million, most of the videos in this playlist are demonetized, which I think we can understand because of the content of them. So I could get 1 million views on these clips and I'm going to make zero money off of it. I am doing this because I want people to see the content. There is literally no way for me to grift off this situation because the videos aren't monetized. So let's watch them talk about teaching autistic children all about masturbation.
Okay, this is one slide when really I could do a whole hour and a half on masturbation is my absolute favorite subject to talk about. Any of my friends can tell you. So masturbation is normal and it's healthy. There are some like, if you Google like side effect or not side effects, like health effects of masturbation, there are like Forbes articles and Teen Vogue articles and People articles. There are so many not side effects. There are so many incredible like health things that masturbation can help with. It is good for you. It is normal to explore. I love the word masturbation. It's one of my favorite words. In college, I did a sex and sexuality discussion group where we like came up with as many slang terms for masturbation as we could. Somewhere there's a list. I'm happy to share it. But I don't just say like, stop touching yourself, or I think it's an important word to teach. I know a lot of adults who are friends of mine who like can't say the word masturbation out loud. Good practice. If you are a parent, again, this is my offer to like, I will happily come talk about masturbation with your autistic child. I've done it with many autistic children. It brings me a lot of joy. And it's kind of, if it makes you uncomfortable because you're like, I'm a parent. I am not that child parent, and I'm happy to do it.
Yes, for those of you keeping track, that was the second time within the presentation that our friend Dylan said that talking about masturbation with your autistic children brings them a lot of joy. And then I think we have two more. Oh, here is Dylan in a 48-second short that has 428 views in 6 hours. Here's Dylan talking about grooming.
Okay, this is my favorite statistic of all time ever, which is that 70% of autistics are LGBTQ plus, with 50% of that population being trans. 70% and 50% both round up to 100. Awesome, that's a huge number. What does that mean? This means that all autistic individuals need to be talked to and informed about queer and trans identities and how those folks have sex. This also means that if you are teaching sex ed to your autistic students, you need to be comfortable and competent in the subject of queer and trans issues, which a lot of people are not. I cite the 70% statistic in every single thing that I write. It's a really awesome number. I have a lot of theories, as do a lot of autistic people, on why that is, but yeah, just a cool number to know. A good fun fact, if you will.
A good fun fact. A good fun fact that the National Sex Ed Conference has a keynote that is teaching that all autistic kids need to be taught about being queer and gender and all that stuff. Just great, guys. Great work. Great work. But our last one is really the piece de resistance, because in this one, they're going to talk about teaching your autistic children to masturbate using sex toys. Are you guys ready?
does the destigmatization around masturbation include sex toys? One of the people like next to me on the screen is someone who's on my close friends list on Instagram, where I post sales on sex toys literally at least once every 3 days. I'm like a huge lover of sex toys and supporter of sex toys across the board. Yes, I am a fan of like, let's talk about sex toys. Let's use sex toys. Let's use sex toys in sex. Let's use sex toys in masturbation. This is not my field, but there are so many physically disabled activists out there who talk about how sex toys are accessibility tools for sex. There are people doing really awesome work. Cripping Up Eva is a sex educator who is, you can follow her on Instagram, who like reviews sex toys based on their accessibility procedures. And yeah, I think that like I did not do 90 minutes on masturbation and sex toys, but maybe there's a follow-up to this. It's 90 minutes on masturbation and sex toys, because like truly I talk about sex toys all the time with everyone in my life. I think they're so important. I think they're really important when you are like learning skills to have sex. I think they're really important masturbation tools for a lot of people. I think that, yeah, in general, I don't know. I live in New York City. We have a lot of awesome sex toy stores here. There are some really awesome ones on the internet too that are like very queer affirming and have a lot of really good disability tools. But yeah, I will type the name there.
And that's it. Well, that's not it. That's not it. That's all the clips that I made. That no one is watching, and this is the point. Because I've probably watched each of those clips like at least a dozen times. I have watched at least each of those clips at least a dozen times, if not more. And no one else is. Or a couple hundred people are, and of course, thank you, those couple hundred people who watch them. But this is the point that I'm trying to make, guys. That I have re-uploaded the Autistic Sex Ed webinar. I premiered it last night. Only 2,000 people watched it when I got 15,000 the other night talking about Steven Crowder. I said, okay, you don't want to watch it at midnight? Fine. Okay, fine. You can come back, watch it today. You can watch it tomorrow. You can watch it the next day. You can share it out. You can at least click into the fucking video and hit the like button. There are any number of things you can do to help like drive up more views on this thing that you claim to want. You could do any of those things, all right? And if that's not good enough because it's 2 hours and you're scared of clicking on a 2-hour video, then here are all these clips that are less than 3 fucking minutes. and not a single one of them has over 1,000 views yet. And I'm going to tell you what, I strongly suspect, though I don't know this for sure, I strongly suspect the views that all of those videos have on them are from the same core audience who already watched and already knew about the autistic sex ed webinar back in January. So what I'm saying is, it's the same people watching it over and over again. So it's not appealing to a new audience. It's not helping to grow the channel. It is not getting covered anywhere. It is not getting discussed anywhere. It's not getting shared anywhere. And people are really confused about why so many autistic children are becoming trans. I have a guess. I have a wild guess about why so many autistic children are becoming trans. I can't, maybe I can't quite suss it out, but I have a suspicion about where it's coming from. And when people are getting served the video, they're not clicking on it. Or if they're clicking on it, they're clicking thumbs down because they're like, ew, that's gross. Why are they doing that? Thumbs down. And it's like, no, you're fucking suppressing the content, you fucking morons. No offense. No offense. But, so this is the problem that I'm having right now. This is the wall that I have hit. And I'm sorry that I decided to cover Steven Crowder, and I'm sorry that I decided that I took a look at the data and I had a hard conversation with myself, and I'm making $24 fucking dollars on autistic sex education and over $1,000 on Steven Crowder, and that would be something that I would be willing to overlook, except for the fact that I just can't get people to click on this content no matter what I do, no matter how much I beg, no matter how much I plead, no matter how much I cajole. I just can't get people to do it. And the media isn't doing their fucking job in covering it. At some point, I gotta say, uncle. So, uncle, you got me. I am no longer going to lose money and to sacrifice my life and my sanity and my health to cover and quite frankly, my mental health more than any of it, because let me tell you what watching and existing in this content all day, every day does to you, and it's not good things. It's really not. So, uncle, I give up. And the only thing that will change that, the one and only thing that can happen to change my mind, is if people start watching and liking and commenting on and sharing the damn content. If you don't want to, then fair enough. Truly. I'm not going to hold it against you, man. Come back to the channel. We can do YouTube drama content to your heart's content. You probably enjoy it more anyway. And so we'll shift gears and do the more light-hearted pop culture bullshit. Okay? But if you really do care about this, then there are many things that you can do that do not cost you a single red cent. I'm not asking for money. I don't make any money when that content is watched. I'm asking you to click on it, to like it, to leave a comment on it, and to share it. And if you want to sign up for my Substack to get on my mailing list, or to get a paid subscription if you feel like contributing, then all the better. And if you want to remind yourself that I stream every single day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and I try to post clips of those shows, and then we do Saturdays at 6 p.m. for Socialism Saturday, and that's very consistent. And if I miss a day, it's going to be the exception because I got something else going on, because sometimes I like to actually leave my house. If you remind yourself that I have a very consistent streaming schedule in the afternoon, you aren't going to need notifications to know to show up. And if you subscribe to the mailing list that I've set up for you, thecult.substack.com, then you'll get an email every day before I go live so you know what's going on. So you won't need to rely on the YouTube Substack notifications. The link for the cult is in the description below. Were those titles wrong? What would you have done that you think, let's test this out, Catalin? You rewrite the fucking titles for me and you tell me what to post them as, and I will repost all those videos with your titles and we will see how much better they do. So it is entirely up to you guys. I have now done everything I can do. I have made several community posts about this today. I have shared every single one of those clips into the community post and said, if you want me to keep doing this type of content, here's explicitly what you need to do. I have explained it explicitly, like 17 fucking times in this presentation. I have tweeted about it. I have posted it in my locals community. I emailed it out to the locals community. I was thinking about posting a Substack, but I kind of want to keep this bullshit off of Substack, if I'm honest. I want to keep my Substack nice. But I've done everything I can do. And so, because I have done everything in my I've even doing this stream right now to try to explain to you why this is necessary. And so, because I have done everything that I can do, I'm washing my hands of it. It's up to you guys. It's up to the universe. It's up to God. It's up to fucking staging a fucking miracle to get people to click on this goddamn content that they claim they desperately want and desperately need, and is so fucking critical that they won't even fucking click on it. Like if maybe there's some sort of miracle. I don't know. But if you don't want to watch it, then I don't have to produce it, and I'm happy to produce content that people actually want to watch. And if people think that's less valuable, then click on the content that you say you want and like it and comment on it and share it and do all the things that the algorithm demands and get more people to watch it. And if you guys show me through your actions that it is worth it to me to continue to make this fucking content, then I will do it. I really will. I will do it every single day if you guys show up and you guys want to interact with it. But if you don't, no harm, no foul, no judgment, no nothing. I want you to be happy. I want you to watch content you like. Whether or not it's on my channel, it doesn't really matter. But I am not going to continue to kill myself if it's not what people want. And it's not going to get covered. And it's not going to reach the people that it needs to reach. And it's not going to help the people that it needs to help, you know? Half Orc Fighter, thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it. So if anyone has any other ideas, then I'm more than happy to hear them. But it is 3:30 in the fucking morning. How the hell did that happen? And so to be responsible, I probably should wrap up and go to bed. But if anyone has any thoughts, anything I haven't considered, any ideas, or maybe you could just share the fucking content. Like, can we please just share it? Like, can we just, I don't even need to create a brainstorm right now. If you have ideas, fine. But can you please just share it? I know we just watched it, but can you please click into it for a couple seconds and just like watch it? I've had to watch it like 17 times, all right? You know? I just don't think I'm asking too much. And I don't think I'm being unreasonable, and I sure as shit don't think I'm being a grifter, because the fact is that if I make this decision, I'm gonna make more money giving up this content, not less, and I'm sitting here at 3:30 in the morning begging people on the internet to watch the content they claim to want, because it is hard for me to articulate how bad things are. And I know how bad things are because I'm one of the only people that I know of, truly. If there are more people doing this, tell me. I'm sure there are. I'm not saying I'm like the only person in the world that's doing this, but I think I'm one of very few people that is doing deep dives into this type of content. I haven't seen anyone else doing what I'm doing. Well, Haley, no. It's not registering. There's no more if you guys aren't watching this content. There's no more. No more shorts, no more nothing. Like, I'm sitting here begging people to watch the content they claim to want because things are really fucking bad. And if people don't start waking up to how really bad things are, I'll tell you what, guys, I think this might be patting myself on the back too much. I think I'm probably 2 years ahead of where your average influencer is in my head, because I do these deep dives, and so I'm pretty sure, and this happens slowly over time, so I'm not exactly sure of when it started happening, but I'm pretty sure because I've done so many deep dives, I've watched thousands of hours of this content, probably tens of thousands of hours now, I don't even know anymore. I have probably watched more of this content than anyone else in the world. And I think I'm about 2 years ahead in my thought process about what is going on than your average influencer. James Lindsay's further than me ahead. James Lindsay sees out farther than I do. But not many people do. Of that, I'm sure. I don't think as many people are seeing as far out as I do. Like, for real. Not just fucking shooting on a fucking dartboard. Like, for real, for real. I can see exactly what's coming. And I have all the receipts in this content that I've been digging through in these deep dives every single fucking day for 2 years. I can see it. Not many people can see it. And because of that, I'm about 2 years ahead, I think, of where your influences are in terms of understanding. And I'm telling you, it is getting really bad. This is no fucking joke. It is getting really bad. And there will reach a point of no return where we are not going to be able to turn it around anymore. And we may have already passed it. It may very well already be too late, and we're already on our long, slow descent into socialism. But I can see it very, very, very clearly. And people need to start understanding, and you need to start really wrapping your head around the fact that it is much worse than you think it is. Do you think it's any coincidence? I have talked to, like, I'm still talking, it's almost 4 AM, whatever. I got DMs from a couple of, like, really, like, well-known activists today. I'm not gonna say who, 'cause I don't wanna out them. And they watched the video this morning, and they said, "Carlin, I feel exactly the same way." Like, everyone is feeling this, and I've heard rumor that James Lindsay posted a podcast for his subscribers saying that he feels the same way. This is not just me that's seeing this. If people do not start understanding the things that are going on and how bad it is, we are so fucked. And so I want you to share this content and watch this content so that you start to understand what's really going on in the world. Because if we don't start understanding this, there ain't no fucking point, man. I may as well just make as much money as I can, turn into an actual legitimate grifter, make as much money as I can, go like retire somewhere, like maybe write a couple more books, retire, build my audience as big as possible, not give a fuck what I have to say to do it. Like I really should be doing these things the way things are going. That is the God's honest truth. I should be doing what every other grifter in this space has done a long ass goddamn time ago. And I'd probably be in a much better position because that's how fucked things are. They're really, really fucked. And the only hope we have is if people start paying attention to what is really going on and start waking up out of whatever fucking stupor you're in. And I understand why you're in a stupor. I get it. It's a lot easier. I wish I could take that blue pill and put myself back into the matrix every single day of the week. I cannot believe some of the things that I have to wade through. I cannot believe some of the things I have seen happen right in front of me. It's like I disassociate from my body sometimes and I'm like outside of my body watching these situations because they're so fucked up. I had so many like moments like that when I was on that self-managed abortion tour where it was like I was outside of myself watching myself in this situation because it was so unfathomable to me of the position that I was in and the things that I was seeing right in front of me, but it was real fucking life and it was real dystopia and things are really bad. And if people don't have the guts to even click on a video and watch for 30 seconds at what is going on, there is nothing that any of us can do if more people are not willing to show up. And so I'm sitting here at 4 in the morning, begging you, pleading with you, cajoling you, please watch this content. Not because I'm going to make money off of it, because I'm not going to make money off of it, but I am desperate to be proven wrong. I am desperate to be shown by people that you care enough to look and see what's happening. And if you don't care enough to look and see what's happening, then I need to fucking do pop culture bullshit YouTube content for a little while cuz I can't continue to lie to myself and say that we have any hope of fixing this at all if people are not even willing to look. Rosalind says, have you reached out to gender critical people with YouTube channels? No, I don't want to reach out to anyone. That's the truth. I if they find my content and they want to cover it, then great. I am extremely reticent to reach out to anyone and to collaborate with anyone because of how many times I have been burned, personally burned by people existing in this space who are just the most awful people on the planet, who are just grifting off of the whole thing, who are just lying to you all the time, who will say and do anything they need to make money. Like I have been burned so much by these people that I have no desire to even speak to any of them. I am so disgusted by the behavior that I see in this space. Beyond. And so if people want to cover the content, then fine. But I'm not going to be reaching out and doing the song and dance, although I know why people want me to. There are some things I'm just not willing to do. But guess what? You can share it with them. I'm not saying you have to. But you can share it with them. Probably be more effective coming from someone that's not me if we're honest about it. Well, Catalan, then people just don't really care about it. Carlin, your content is the best on the internet, but it's not pretty enough. And have you really thought, Carlin, have you thought about losing some weight? Because in order to show people what's going on in schools, you really need to be I need you to lose at least 30 pounds. 30 pounds would be great. And can you grow your hair out and dye it blonde? Can you please, it's like, we need to, and can you get like a really professional set? Because really, in order to show people what's happening in the schools, we just need to zhuzh everything up just a little bit. Maybe we can get tummy tuck. Maybe we can like, are you fucking shitting me? Are you fucking shitting me? Either you care about the issues or you do not care about the issues. And if you do not care, that's fine. But can we just be honest about it? Can we just be honest here? We're all adults. We all know what the deal is. So, either you like the content or you don't. Either you watch it or you don't. Either you share it or you don't. I am no longer going to push. I have done what I can do. And as of right now on YouTube, I do not plan on doing any more of this type of content. That's not to say I won't do stuff over on my Substack. It will be behind the paywall for people who are supporting the work I'm doing. So we are still going to do it there. People don't need to worry. We're still going to do that on the Substack, okay? If you're a member of the Substack, you're good. We are still going to do happy hours on Fridays for now. Even though I do not like the way that content is performing, and I have never liked the way that content is performing, but I like happy hour on Friday, and it's a nice community thing. And so for now, we will still do happy hour on Friday. For now, and definitely through the month of May, we will still do the socialist content, Socialism Saturday, on Saturdays. And we will probably still keep doing that, if I'm honest, because I really like the socialism content, and it is some of the more popular content that I do on the channel. So I don't think the socialism content is actually in danger of going anywhere, if I'm honest. For the rest of the streams, I don't exactly know what it's going to be. It might be something that I find me reading articles, and that's it. It might be us watching other YouTuber content. It might be any number of things, but what it will not be is in-depth research and exposés about what's going on. That I know. We may watch videos, like longer form videos, but if people don't want to watch the rest of the content, there is no longer a reason for me to produce it. And my decision-making process for what will be covered will be directly related to what I think is going to get the most possible views. So we might just watch a bunch of Tim Pool. I'm always in favor of shitting on Tim Pool when I think he's being stupid. Because I know that'll always get views. Or if there's more Steven Crowder drama or things like that. But like what I'm trying to say is my decision on what to cover is going to be directly related to the views. And so if you want school's content to get covered, then you need to watch it. And you need to take responsibility for what you're clicking on and what you're not clicking on. And that's just where I'm at with it, guys. So if you have any other ideas, anything else to add, leave a comment and let me know. But it is now almost 4 a.m. and I'm definitely going to bed. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Take care. We'll see you soon.